Hello guys. So in this video I'm gonna show you how to create a virtual machine on Azure. So uh, before I do that, once again I have explained the differences between the classic version of the virtual machine as well as the latest virtual machine in my previous video. So in case you guys want to know what is the difference in these two, please go ahead and watch my previous video. So in case you don't want to know the difference, just feel free to skip that as well. Not very important, but just just to have awareness of what it exactly is. So let's go ahead and create a virtual machine now. So the first way obviously is using this new button. As you create any new service, you can create a virtual machine as well here. But I'm gonna choose the easiest way, that is by clicking on virtual machines here, and it'll load up the list of virtual machines. I already have a virtual machine here. It's been shown up. And to create a new one, I'm gonna click on add. So once I do that, I get a list of different kinds of virtual machines that I can deploy using Azure. So you can see there are virtual machines that are sorted by the version of the operating system, the solution templates, application infrastructure, Windows based, Linux based, etc., etc. There's a lot of options on Azure that you can use to create your server. So not just a Windows server, you can even go ahead and create a SharePoint server or a SQL server or any of these. So this is something I would leave to you guys to explore. So I'm gonna use the Windows server. I'm gonna create a Windows server, and once you click on Windows server, again you get a list of different kinds of different versions of the Windows server that you have. Like you can see all versions starting from Windows Server 28, 2008 to 2012. Sorry, 2016 is the latest one which you have here. So feel free to choose which version you want depending on your requirement. So in this video, I'm going to choose Server 2016 Data Center. And once I click the version of the Windows Server, I'm going to get another screen which asks me for the deployment model. So this is basically the same thing which I have explained in the previous video regarding the classic and the latest kinds of virtual machine. So you have two options here. One is a classic and the resource manager. So this is basically the deployment model that Microsoft uses to deploy your resources. Resource manager being the latest and classic being the previous one. So it's definitely recommended to go with the latest one, and I'm going to choose a resource manager here. Once I do that, once I choose the deployment model, it asks me for the basic details for your server. I'm gonna type in these details, and please make sure you don't forget the username and password, uh, whatever data that you're entering while creating the server. You obviously can go and reset the admin account, but it's always better to keep this use a password that you remember, and the same goes with the username as well. So I've entered my username, password. It asks for the subscription, which I want to choose. I have multiple subscriptions, so I'm gonna stick with Visual Studio Enterprise and the resource group. So which resource group you want to choose? So you can either create a new one or you can use an existing one. So let me go ahead and use an existing one. And the location I have set to South India, and that is the closest location for me. Another option that you see here is whether do you have a Windows Server license or not. So this actually helps you save cost in terms of the licensing of the OS. So I don't have a server license, so I'm gonna say no here and click on OK. And in the next step, it's gonna ask you about the kinds of the configuration that you require for your server. So if you remember in the first step, I have chosen SSD for my disk. You can see in the basic settings, I have chosen SSD. So it is showing me options for the SSD kind of server. So you will see different kinds of server, and even the prices are going to change when you change this from SSD to HDD as well. So let me stick with the SSD. And here you can see the three kinds of servers listed. These are the recommended ones. If you want to view all kinds of all configurations of the server, you can click on view all. It's gonna list, all the configurations which they have. So you can see the configuration as expected is directly tied with the cost. So the higher the configuration, the higher the cost is gonna be. So I'm gonna choose the lowest one here, the standard DS1 underscore V2 standard. I'm gonna select this, and then it asks me for the configuration or the settings of the server, like the network settings and etc etc. So I'm going to leave these to the default values. I'm not going to change any of these things here. In case you guys want to explore this more, feel free and go ahead. But in case you're new to all these things, it's better you don't touch any of these configurations for the server. So I'm going to click on OK here. And the next step is about the purchase. So it shows you all the terms and conditions, and the summary of the purchase that you're gonna make. So I'm gonna click on purchase, and that is gonna start deploying my server. And this step is gonna take a while. It can take anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. And basically this is all for creating the server. So the next thing that I'm going to show you once this is deployed is how to access the server, and that's it. So it's a pretty simple step to create a server on Azure. So let's wait for this server to be deployed on Azure. So the server is deployed, and it took a while. As I mentioned, it took about 5 minutes. So once it is deployed, it opens up this screen. That's the dashboard for the server. In case you don't get it, you can go ahead and click on this, and you're gonna get that dashboard. So this dashboard basically shows you the CPU usage and the basic details of the server. So the next step for us is to connect to the server. And to do that, I have to click on the connect here. Can I click on connect, which is gonna download an RDP file. I clicked it on twice. Yep. So this is gonna download an RDP file, and I'm gonna click on open, and it asks me about connecting to the server and about the credentials required to log in. So the same credentials that you had entered while creating the server, you're gonna need the same credentials to log in here. So this will now connect me to my server. I see, yes. And it's now loading my server. There you go. So this is my server. I'm actually inside the virtual box. As you can see here, this is my local machine, and this is my server. So that's it. So your server is now set up. You can go ahead and start working on it. I hope this video turns out to be useful. If you like it, please do click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.